All right, everyone, welcome. This is not unscheduled, but an unpromoted, how's that? Unpromoted LinkedIn Live. It is not at the usual time, which is 9 a.m. ish Mountain Time. It is on the usual date, the first Wednesday of the month. And it is something that I dedicated myself to doing, before 2023. And life got hectic, and my day is hectic, and I wanted to keep the streak alive, quite honestly. So today is an unpromoted LinkedIn Live. If you're watching live, I'm glad you're here. If you're watching the recording, I'm glad you're here. Today, I'd like to talk with you about some frequently asked questions that I get as a coach for world class lawyers. I'm going to share the questions. I'm going to share the answers that I give. If you have different answers, feel free to pop them in the comments. Whether you're watching live or watching the recording, I always go back and check the comments. So it's great to be here. Thanks for coming. I'm going to begin by sharing a conversation that I had with a lawyer last week. I was in a meeting with them, and they're not a client of mine. It's not someone who I coach or have coached in the past, although I may coach them in the future. Who knows? But the conversation was great. It was in depth. It was personal. There was great connection. This attorney has been practicing law for 40 years and is really world class. Is at the top of their game. And as we were talking about what it is that I do, he said, "John, you can just stop." And I said, "What's up?" And he said, "You don't have to convince me. I understand the power of coaching." And so we talked about his experience, and he had been coached in the past. He had been coached by two different coaches. And here's what he shared with me. And it really captures the essence of why I believe in what it is that I do and why I am on a mission to coach lawyers. It's a calling, it's a mission. Um, Here's what he said. It is impossible to be elite without a coach. It is impossible to be elite without a coach. And of course, we went on to talk about why he felt that way. And, the analogy of, I shared the analogy of being able to read the ingredients on a cereal box from the inside. He shared with me his concept of which I share, which we all build these boxes around ourselves. We all create these boxes that we put ourselves in, and it's impossible to get out of them on our own. Blind spots are called blind spots for a reason. Willpower waxes and wanes. Um, Understanding our operating system is not something that we're very good at. We can diagnose others super easy. Think about it. How many times have you been talking with a friend or a colleague and they were talking with you about being stuck in some area of their life? And you're just like, okay, that's, maybe try this, maybe do that. And it's really easy for you to diagnose others, but you're stuck in an area of your life and you're having difficulty getting out of it. Or you're at a world-class level and you want to ensure that you don't lose your edge, or you want to level up. It's impossible to quote my friend, it's impossible to be elite without a coach. I believe that. Hopefully you'll come to believe that and understand that too. So let's talk generally about some FAQs that I get. The first one that I get is, "Hey, John, isn't coaching kind of a remedial thing, right? Isn't a coach meant to get people back to a baseline, kind of in a performance improvement plan type of way, or quite frankly, any other way?" And my answer to that question of, isn't coaching remedial, is some coaching is remedial. Some coaching is included in performance improvement plans. some coaching is to help people get to a satisfactory baseline. That is true. That is not my coaching. I do not coach remedially. I coach world-class performers to up their game. Think about me as the coach for Olympians or the coach for C-suite executives at a Fortune 50 company. That's the type of coaching that I do. The type of coaching that I do is based on the energy leadership model that I learned at the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching when I went through my coach training program. I really believe in the energy leadership model. I think it tracks extremely well in the world as I observe it. And I believe it is the most effective way to communicate with my clients, who are, again, are world-class attorneys, in ensuring that they maintain their edge. They are able to up their game, even though they think they're performing at the highest level that they have. They're not. They are able to up their game and they are able to achieve the results that they want to achieve. So that's the long answer to why do I need a coach, right? Um, and the energy leadership framework really fits well in the space that I play in, which is outstanding managing partners and partnership level attorneys at mid-sized law firms. So think up to 250 attorneys. Can be multiple offices, can be just one office, all the way down to smaller partners in smaller law firms and owners in smaller law firms. Another question I get is, coaching seems kind of squishy. How do I calculate the ROI for a coaching engagement with you? Great question. Remember, I am trained as a lawyer. I've got a business degree. I understand ROI, especially in today's world. And I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but I don't think today's world is going to change all that much. So it could be tomorrow's world as well, where funds are somewhat limited and investment needs to have a return, right? Coaching is an investment, it's not an expense. That's one of the key changes in the frame. Coaching is an investment, not an expense. And so, because it's an investment, you ought to expect a return on your dollars. You ought to expect a return on your investment. So, how do we do that? Well, the first thing that we do in my coaching, and I take my clients through the RISE coaching framework, RISE. First thing we do is we do a roots, the R in RISE. We do a roots module. That is understanding your operating system, in essence, understanding your framework, how you view the world, how you move through it, how you see things. That's the first thing that we do. We establish a baseline for you as a leader, as a communicator, as a person who is able to perform, as a person who is or isn't able to focus and deal with distractions. So we establish the baseline. Oftentimes that will include an energy leadership index assessment. Not oftentimes, it always includes an energy leadership index assessment. It is an attitudinal assessment recommended by coaches who write for Forbes magazine. And so we will do an energy leadership index assessment. And what that does is it really talks about how you operate and what stress looks like to you, how you not necessarily deal with it, but how you move through it. And so we find out your operating system with the energy leadership index assessment. Then we do a vision, a big vision, a long-term vision, a 20, 15, 10-year vision down the road. What do you want your life to look like? We do that work. Then we do identifying your core values work. With all of that in the roots section, you have a very good understanding of your operating system. And then we do an inventory. What are you doing now? What works for you? What doesn't work for you? This is all in establishing your baseline. What's your law practice's revenue? What's the company's revenue? How are you planning to maintain, increase, whatever it is, grow the firm if you're the managing partner in a mid-sized law firm? How are you going to grow it? How are you going to ensure that it is a multi-generational firm that just doesn't peter out, that you bring, recruit, and retain top talent at the associate levels and perhaps bring in partner levels, lateral transfers that are a good fit, that are a culture fit. So we do that inventory work. And that's really doing those two things. We define what the concrete objective is to your coaching experience with me. That is the first and most important thing of measuring ROI. What is your objective here? A lot of attorneys will come to me talking about growing their book. Many will come to me talking about upping their leadership game, their executive presence, their communication, in order to empower others to achieve their goals and thereby lift the entire firm up. So we will set a clear objective. That is critical. And a lot of folks believe that it's one thing. And then, based on conversations that we have, they actually recognize that it's something else. So instead of the symptom, we dive in and do a differential diagnosis. We look at everything that's going on, and they get to set the target. So we define a clear objective. And then we gather baseline. We gather baseline metrics. Okay, so where are these numbers that you want to improve? Where are they now? Because if you don't know where you are, you never know where you're going to get to. So you got to set those baseline metrics. You have to continuously monitor. And we do that through accountability, uh, whether that's through my coaching platform with action steps or metrics for you to check. We are constantly continuously monitoring. And that builds the accountability muscle for you. It is a muscle that you need to go to the gym to build, just like any other muscle. Eventually, you'll be able to be self accountable. In the beginning, oftentimes my clients struggle with accountability, even though they're world class, high performing lawyers, right? They struggle with doing the thing that they said they would do because it really only involves them. They think. They think their mindset is, well, this is just for me. It's not for anybody else. So I can put it to the side. That's the worst. And then we will do a post program evaluation. At the end of any coaching relationship with me, and my coaching relationships are either 6 months or 12 months long initially, we do an evaluation. Where are we? Here was the goal at the start. Where are we today? Have we moved forward? You will be able to get that ROI. You'll be able to measure it. So, so very important. That is how we'll measure ROI. We will set metrics. We will track metrics. We will ensure that you're acting to improve those metrics. You're taking action, right? I talk with people all the time that look, at the time of this recording, it's March of 2024. It's not that you don't know what to do. It's just not that you don't know what to do. You can get on Google and ask ChatGPT or Bard or whatever they're calling Google's AI thing now and ask them, how do I, as a law firm manager or for a mid-sized law firm, as a managing partner at a mid-sized law firm, how do I do X? And it'll spit out 10, 12, 15, 20 answers. So it's not that you don't know, it's that you don't execute. And the reason you don't execute is all about your mindset. And so we get into that space. That's what we do. So that's how you measure ROI. How will your coaching improve the productivity of me and my firm. We have a billable hour requirement. Meet it. I meet it, no problem. My team, some team members struggle, some don't. At the end of the day, how are you going to improve the productivity and the firm's financial performance? Because that's where I want to measure ROI. Great question. Really important question. So, energy leadership coaching will empower you and enable you to communicate more effectively with your team. Number one. Number two, it will improve your executive presence. And what I mean by executive presence is your ability to transmit your message about why the billable hours are important, why these targets need to be met, why across a multi-generational platform. I hear almost weekly when I'm engaging with managing partners and founders of law firms, the struggle that they have with connecting with, motivating, and quite honestly, understanding the different generations that are present in their workspace. It's a real struggle, and I get it. I understand it. Energy leadership, and the energy leadership framework that I leverage with my clients will empower them to connect more readily with their people. And here's what I mean. I have a client and they have a younger generation member on their team, an associate. And one of the things that they came to me with was, I just don't understand them. I don't understand what motivates them. When I was their age, fill in the blank, right? When I was in their position, fill in the blank. And I had to stop my client and say, how helpful is that to compare yourself to them? You're not the same. You know you're not the same. So A, it's not helpful to do that. B, what would it be like if you were able to understand and level them up? What would that mean for you and your team and your firm? Oh, it would be such a great stress reduction for me. I know that they would be happier at work, and I know that the firm would naturally financially benefit. And so the energy leadership framework really leans into those kind of things. Essentially, what we talk about in energy leadership are two different types of operating. One is under stress when we're in fight or flight and our biology prevents us from observing opportunity and seeing different solutions and being strategic. When we're not under stress, we have a greater ability to be strategic. And so when we think, I don't understand these darn kids, which is essentially what people are telling me, we are then in a stressful place. We are in that fight or flight, whether we want to understand it or believe it or feel it or not. Our biology is there. And that means that we view things in a different way and we view opportunity as limited. And so energy leadership can, number one, help you really understand your triggers into your energetic stress reaction, your ESR in energy leadership parlance. What triggers get you there? And then you build a framework so that either you don't go there, so you don't go into fight or flight and have your biology working against you, or you're there for such a short time that it really doesn't matter and you don't make decisions when you're there, right? It's the energy leadership, the energy stress reaction is a terrible place to make decisions from. Just is. Unless, of course, you're being chased by a lion on the savannah in Africa, and then you want to make quick decisions. But other than that, it's a bad place to be. And so that helps with performance and productivity because you'll be able to connect more readily with those around you. From an individual performance perspective, we get to leverage both the energy leadership framework. So making sure you don't go into your energetic stress reaction, making sure you stay at higher levels of energy, clearer levels where you can really be strategic. We combine that with my training in the science of flow. I trained at the Flow Research Collective under Stephen Kotler and his crew. And so I'm trained in the science of flow. Flow, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, being in the zone. You'll hear athletes talk about it all the time. I couldn't miss. The baseball looked like a beach ball from a batter's perspective. For a golfer, I couldn't miss a putt. The hole just looked so large, and the green looked flat to me. I was in the zone. That is flow, and flow is biology, and it is more readily brought into the workplace of a lawyer than you would likely imagine. And so we leverage both energy leadership and flow from a personal peak performance perspective. That's say that 3 times fast. The final thing that I do from a performance angle for my clients is I also then bring in a program called Core Performance. And Core Performance is used by elite athletes all over the world. It is a framework that I walk my clients through so that they can call on optimal performance at the drop of a hat, no matter the circumstances, no matter the situation. They can perform at their very best. And that very best continues to get better over time. So we've got energy leadership, we've got flow, and we've got core performance all at play. That's how energy leadership and my coaching can not help, can empower elite performers. Think Olympic athletes, think C suite executives at Fortune 50 companies, think elite attorneys like you to level up their performance, level up their productivity. Now, the one thing I didn't mention about flow is, according to McKinsey and Company, being in a flow state can up your productivity by about 500%. So, in fact, you are making time. When people tell you that you can't make more time, you can. So, that is improving performance and productivity from an energy leadership coach's perspective. We have talked about the ROI of coaching. We began with a well-seasoned, world-class lawyer, and their words of, "It is impossible to be elite without a coach." I would love the opportunity to connect with you. If you've heard something today that you have questions about, send me a message. I'd love to connect. If you want to learn more about what coaching with me looks like, send me a message. You can send me a message here on LinkedIn. You can send me a message through any platform. My email is john@johnrkormanik.com. Send me a message. Don't wait. Time is ruthless and it is relentless. It does not care about you one bit. Time keeps on marching forward. Today is the day for you to take that step and begin to explore what coaching can do for you, for your law practice, and for your law firm. Until next time, as always, it's been a pleasure. Take care. Be well.